The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Poppy Tucker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hey, Miss Poppy.
Hey,
hello. Dr. Mona Lisa Saloy, making her Steppin Out debut, Poet Laureate of the state of Louisiana, and she is also the Conrad N. Hilton Endowed Professor of English at Dillard University and an award-winning author, folklorist, educator, and scholar of Creole culture. Welcome, Mona Lisa. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
So glad you're here.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Also with us, Alan Smason, editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Howdy,
Hey.
Alan. Hello. Poppy, we've got some one-of-a-kind meals this time around.
Well, you know, it is time to wrap up this year's Historic New Orleans Collection Food Forum, which used to be just one big event, and this year they broke it into 4 parts. And now, on Sunday, we are going to be celebrating summer with Dr. Jessica Harris and Dana Hahn, not at the Historic New Orleans Collection. This is off-site at Carmo. And we're going to start off with a boozy snowball for a welcome, followed by a 4-course special meal for $75. There's an optional beverage pairing. It's going to be fascinating, and it's going to be delicious. Don't ever miss an evening with Dr. Jessica Harris. And as so many things return to the way they were, I'm so happy to announce that Guest Chef Night is back at Liberty's Kitchen. And of course, Liberty's Kitchen, fabulous program that mainstreams young adults into the hospitality industry. It's taking place Wednesday, August the 24th. Their first guest chef, Adolfo Garcia. It's 5 courses, all covering different street foods of Latin America. It's at Liberty's Kitchen on North Broad, which is in the Whole Food building, and it's BYOB. Tickets are $65. But mark your calendar, because another big event that's coming in September. Get your tickets now for the Come Grow With Us Gala. It's back, and it's a great time. Liberty's Kitchen's annual biggest fundraiser at the Ace Hotel, September 30th.
Wow, thank you so much. And moving over to Mona Lisa. Well, Mona Lisa, first of all, how were you told that you were named Poet Laureate? This is, I mean, that's got to be quite the call, huh?
Exciting, unexpected, delightful, thrilled. It was a dream come true, a blessing. I'm so thankful.
I bet it's been a lot of fun. And of course, you've got many publications of your own, starting with Red Beans and Ricely Yours, which you'll be reading from a little bit later. I love that cover.
Oh,
and then also Second Line. How much fun is that? Now, you are, of course, a literary ambassador. Your duties include going around the state. Let's talk about like some of that. It must be really fun to get to know the state better too, huh?
I have learned so much about our beloved Louisiana. I didn't know we had a no man's land where gangsters and cowboys used to cross the border because there wasn't one between Texas and Louisiana. And that was way back in, well, we were the original West, Louisiana, of course. But literally, and that's where Manny is. It used to be no man's land. I've learned so much history and culture. And now they've built this huge lake and they have sportsman's paradise kinds of events. Every year, it's a big draw. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, that whole area is so fascinating, and I understand you received the key to the city of Manny?
A first in my life. What a blessing. What a blessing.
Look at that with the mayor. Oh, that is so dear.
I was trying not to let my eyes leak so badly. It was just so unexpected.
And they have renovated a theater, and you were like an old movie theater, huh? You were the first literary star to give a talk there, is that right?
Yes, this is the Sabine Theater. It was closed in 1988, but bought by the town of Manny.
Oh.
They renovated it, and now they have music once a month, movies free so families can go, and they only pay $1 for popcorn and $1 for soft drinks. They do Easter movies, Halloween movies, whatever the season is, affordable family fun.
And you got to visit with the book club. That had to be a hoot
the
at a
Manny
local restaurant.
Book club ladies, and they came before the general public because the whole place was full. It was sweet. And next to me is Althea Debose, who's my neighbor and friend. We run the neighborhood association together. And her family were in the dry cleaning business, but she's my neighbor. She took the drive with me. We had a ball.
And you are, we should say, in the 7th Ward, and born and raised, huh?
Born and raised.
All right. And then let's move on to Opelousas. That had to be so much fun, too.
Oh.
Talk about good eating, too.
Oh, yes, and the Opelousas Museum is beautiful. And these are the kids. I did a workshop with them at the library, the Sabine Library, and they were adorable, and they wrote such touching, moving pieces. And I never met them before. They were so open, and it was a lovely session.
And then over at Baton Rouge, at Southern University Museum. Look
Yes.
at that. Oh.
Yes, and that's me with the beautiful director. Oh my God, they have so much art. When I walked in, I was overwhelmed with joy to see my ancestral work. Oh, things, pieces of art that were so extraordinary, and some thousands of years old. It was, in addition to contemporary art, it was so fabulous. I'm just
And then, of
honored.
course, you're a New Orleans girl, so giving a talk, a lecture at the Maffa commemoration, which, in case folks are not familiar with that word, though, has to do with, of course, the Middle Passage and
Yes.
the commemoration, of course, of the history of the slave trade.
Yeah.
Congo Square, what better place, huh?
History, hallowed ground, and it's Ma'afa, we say.
Excuse me,
That's all
Good.
right.
And I know Ashe has
Ashe.
Community Center has been very integral in that. Well, great. Well, we'll come back in a few minutes and we can listen to a poem. Have you read a poem? It'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Great.
And moving over to Alan.
And many happy returns.
Yes.
Unlike his earlier work, though, Peggy, Tennessee Williams's Summer and Smoke did not have the star power, if you will, of The Glass Menagerie and A Streetcar Named Desire. It only lasted 120 performances on Broadway. But the two protagonists in Summer and Smoke are Alma and John. Alma, played by Elizabeth McCoy. She's the prim and proper daughter of a minister, while John is a hedonistic physician who's followed his father's career path but lacks direction in life. The two have known each other since childhood. They're drawn to one another. But Alma is desirous of a respectful coupling, and John is interested in a more lustful affair. Alma's mother is the victim of a stroke. Thus, she has to assume the duties of the lady of the house, while the father tries to keep an eye on her mother, that is. And of course, John is a disappointment to his father, played by Robert A. Mitchell. But Williams uses a really clever device of an anatomy chart on the wall of his office for the two would-be lovers to express their differing philosophies. The doctor points out the animal nature of man, and Alma expresses that nowhere on that chart is something representing the soul, which is emblematic of her name. John turns his eyes towards Rosa Gonzalez, a lusty Mexican immigrant's daughter, whose family background, of course, lacks bearing, but whose body tempts him in ways that Alma cannot. And that's played by Mariola Chalas. Rose is the third part of what would be a love triangle were the other two able to connect. Eventually, the two do find themselves taking opposite sides of their earlier philosophical arguments, and sometime later, this is really the crux of Williams's intent with Summer and Smoke. Basically, the supporting players there are all there to underpin this connection between the two, or this misconnection between the two, if you will. Gwendolyn Foxworth also stars as the prudish Mrs. Bassett. Yvette Bourgeois, we just saw as Nellie Ewell. She's a student from an established, well-to-do family. Mia Frost plays Mrs. Winehouse. Again, George Trahanis is the Reverend Weinmuller. But this is all playing at the beautiful Marigny Opera House. Costumes by Grace Smith are well executed. Lighting by Diane K. Bass, very well done as well. And Steve Shepker does what Tennessee Williams intended to do on the left side of the House of the differing philosophies of religion, and on the right, science, represented by the Buchanan House. Directed by Augustin J. Carrera with sound design by Nick Shackelford, Summer and Smoke is a play of missed opportunities and opposite values clashing. It seethers and smokes, but it does not combust. Meanwhile, one of Pam Jens's early success was Deuce a Fish, Stas and Vibe, which was a unique feminist play dealing with real-world issues confronting women. Among the issues confronting them were divorce, abuse and abandonment, child stealing, and how to be a breadwinner in a society that favored men over women. Lucy Faust plays a part in their Deusa, but she also serves as the producer in this moving work with Fat Squirrel's Andrea Watson as Fish. Both Faust and Watson deliver powerful performances as half of the four women in that London flat. Deusa is embroiled in a very tumultuous divorce with an abusive husband who's taken away her children. Fish is hoping to reconcile with her boyfriend. The other two actresses, Desiree Burrell is a streetwalker, and Susan Gordon is an anorexic and neurotic Vi. They're also quite good in their roles. The problems these women experience are traumatic, but banding together, they're able to support one another and make the bearable, or the unbearable, more bearable, as it were. Jems's analog, basically she's talking in the language of the street. It's gritty, it's evocative of the British lower class. What she has to say, though, back in 1976 is still relevant today, that these women need an invaluable support system, and it's there when they come up with it. Liz Power, by the way, is the director of this piece. There she is on the left. She came up from New York to direct the piece. There's Lucy Faust on the right with Desiree Burrell in the middle. Again, this is a highly recommended work, and one that will have a lot of meaning for women who go.
All right, and so only Monday through Thursday, is that correct?
At Bryant Park upstairs,
okay, and
Monday through Thursday.
Okay, and that's at 7:30 or 7?
It's at 7 o'clock.
It's at 7 o'clock. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much. Okay. And tonight, we are starting a brand new monthly feature called Piece of the Past. First up, Pontchartrain Beach. I'm Peggy Scott Laborde with A Piece of the Past. We're taking a look back at local history through some photos from my collection and the work of local photographers and from archives. While most attractions along the midway of New Orleans' Pontchartrain Beach were rides or games of skill, during the 1940s and into the 1960s, there was the Cockeyed Circus, and right next door, Laugh in the Dark. These were walk-through attractions. Cockeyed was an apt description, since there was a mirror maze, which certainly made you feel askew. I also recall jets of air coming from below the floor, which of course wreaked havoc with skirts and elicited more than a few screams of surprise. Carrying forth the circus theme was a giant head of a clown, which quickly became the meeting spot for beachgoers. According to a recollection from Frank Jones in the book Pontchartrain Beach, A Family Affair by Brian Batt and Katie Danos, Jones's stepfather, Alfred Willis, constructed the clown head's wood framework. Beach owner and Brian's grandfather, Harry Batt Sr., brought in a sculptor from Paris to create with plaster the iconic face. In addition to his carpentry skills, Willis was also the captain of the beach's lifeguards. The clown photo was taken by photographer Joe Buddy Jr. He was a cameraman at WDSU TV for almost 40 years, starting when the station was founded in 1948. I got to know this kind, gentle man a few years before he retired. Sensing a shared fondness for New Orleans history, he gave me the photo, which recalls a fun-filled summer for many. That's a piece of the past from WYES. Thank you so much for watching. And so much fun to do this. If you want to see it again, you can go to our YouTube channel, WYES's YouTube channel. Back to Poppy.
Two of my favorite New Orleanians, Sophina Young and William Barnwell, her husband, of Mr. Mao, uptown on Tchoupitoulas, is hosting a fundraiser for Mino, that's Made in New Orleans, all the good work they do. That's Sunday, August the 21st. Now, there's going to be 2 seatings. It's going to be so much fun because it's 5 courses, and there's guest chefs coming in to help that include Austin Lane from El Cocoy, who'll be doing an enchiladas mole verde, Austin Lane, Brock Seabrook from Daddy Hotbirds, Martha Wiggins from Cafe Reconcile, and Caitlin Guerin from Lanyap Baking. And the menu is so fabulous. There's shrimp stew. There's a crab fat papadai shot. There's a Thai beef short rib, sweet potato pie for dessert. There's only 45 seats available in each seating. They're $75. What a way to have some delicious once-in-a-lifetime dinner and do a lot of good work, too. And speaking of good work, Les Dames d'Escoffier are pursuing their good works with an Ethiopian feast that'll be held at Addis Nola on Wednesday, August the 17th. It's a multi-course meal served family style. 2 drinks are included for the $75 price. And Chef Prince Lobo will be on hand to discuss all of those unusual Ethiopian dishes that will be featured on the menu that night.
All right, thank you so much, Poppy. And back over to Mona Lisa. And Mona Lisa, we're thrilled you're going to read a poem from Red Beans and Ricely Yours, so please take it away. Go right ahead.
Thank you. In my work, I try to capture what I love about New Orleans, and it's the warmth and the welcoming manner. But we have a particular way of just being together. So I hope that you like this. Southern Sisters. There's a way Crescent City women, downtown Brown sisters, carry a face towel on their shoulders. Sweat rags for summers when it's hot enough to melt toad cheese on the banquet. That's a sidewalk, y'all. There's a way New Orleans women, Brickhead Red sisters, carry a kerchief through long tan fingers. It's like the hand that fans you. There's a way Crescent City sisters throw a wink with a wide smile. So good, makes you want to kiss your mama, yeah. Makes you want to kiss your mama, yeah. There's a way the home of Hucklebuck women tip a hat to the side on their heads, all dressed up to kiss, like queens of the Ebony Isles. Makes you want to kiss your mama, yeah. Makes you want to kiss your mama, yeah.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much, Mona Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And I know you have many more travels, but if anybody wants to contact you about a possible appearance, we've got a full screen of all that information on there, including you have an Amazon author page, which is very, very nice and very informative too. And they can contact you through Dillard. So appreciate that. I'm so glad you're with us. We want you to come back because there's plenty more poems to read, okay?
Thank you, Peggy.
All right. And back over to Alan. Alan.
Well, Peggy, the Jefferson Performing Arts Society got some very good welcome news recently. They're very happy now to be the managing partner for the Jefferson Performing Arts Center, or JPAC, on Airline Drive. This is a photo of Maestro Dennis Asaf, the artistic director on the right there of JPS, and that's former Jefferson Parish President John Young back in 2015 when he hoped, that is Dennis, to be taking over the facility. But that didn't work out back then. But now, 7 years later, JPAS is in charge of that massive facility on Airline Drive and already has lots of plans for the future. Dennis will be my guest on an upcoming NOLA Theater talk show, talking about his new management, and also hopefully we'll be talking about the upcoming season that kicks off with Sweet Potato Queens in West Wego on the West Bank, of course, and In the Heights at JPAC on the East Bank. On that same show, Jennifer Shea, who you see here with her dad,
I
our
love
past
that.
Steppin Out theater critic, Al Shea, on the left there. She's going to come on the show to talk about her upcoming work with the Storytime Players. That's a new group she founded in Gretna, and they'll be having a new work of Jack of the Beanstalk. We'll have more on that in another couple of weeks when we come back. We'll talk about that. And then the following week, on August the 29th, we welcome back Mike Mitchell, the New Orleans Theater Association, who'll discuss with me what they've been doing in the off time during COVID, and also examine the season of what's going on over at the Sanger Theater. So that's Dennis Desoff and Jennifer Shea on August 22nd, and then Mike Mitchell on August 29th. See it all on the NOLA Theater Folk, that is the NOLA Theater Talk Show. And you can see it on NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel.
All right, thank you so much. And I want to kick off our picks this week. WYES will present a 1-hour documentary on the life of Walter Anderson, August 23rd and August 27th. Here's an exclusive clip featuring Anderson's son John and daughter Leaf.
I think it worked for everyone, probably. It was strange compared to what other children had in their family life, but it was sort of dependable. He would go for maybe 3 weeks at a time, get his provisions and be gone, take his boat out and be in his own world completely. No pretense, no efforts at pretense.
They asked what I was doing. Didn't I get lonely? I said I was drawing birds and hadn't been lonely yet.
Daddy, in one of his journals, summarized what he was doing out on Horn Island. He wrote that in order to realize the beauty of man, we must realize our relation to nature. I think that in those 20 years that he was living in solitude on a wilderness island, he was attempting to realize his relation to nature so that he could realize the beauty of humanity.
And you can watch Walter Anderson, The Extraordinary Life and Art of the Islander, August 23rd at 10 p.m. and August 27th at 4 p.m. Kudos to producers Robert St. John and William Thaxton. And some more picks before we go to Poppy. Let me tell you about those. We wanted to tell you about Saturday being White Linen Night. Look at that. It's actually Dirty Linen Night, I should say. Don't forget that. That's an evening when some French Quarter galleries and shops are open to visit. Go to dirtylinennight.org for maps and details. On Sunday, the crew of the Rolling Elvi, commemorating the anniversary of Elvis's death, is organizing a blood drive at Tipitina's with other crews participating. There will be bands and a dance showcase. Go to Elvi's Facebook page for more information, and costumes are welcome. All right, what a good cause. Now time for Poppy.
Well, continuing our theme of using your dining dollars to do good, here's another great opportunity. Food and Friends Culinary Charity Extravaganza. And we are talking, of course, about Food for Friends, the program that is administered through Crescent Care. And it's happening Thursday, August 18th at the Maison du Puy Hotel. It's going to be a ton of fun, I promise.
Alan.
Well, you know, we want everybody to get ready for this next Tuesday because the crowning of the 2022 Stage Door Idol will be happening. That's a $2,000 top prize. There you see MC Jimmy Murphy and the reigning Stage Door Idol, Brittany Williams, from 2019. She'll be performing again just prior to the announcement of this year's winner. Check it all out at BB's Stage Door Canteen at the National World War II Museum, and I'll see you at the theater.
All righty. And Mona Lisa.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be book signing Thursday,
Yay.
September 15th, noon to 1 p.m. at Melba's Old School Po' Boys.
Isn't that great the way they've been doing that on a regular basis? I just
Wonderful.
love that. I love
Absolutely
that.
wonderful.
Great.
God bless her.
And some more picks. The New Orleans Ballet Association is sponsoring free youth ballet classes at several New Orleans Recreation Department facilities starting August 15th. You can go online to register or go in person August 22nd at the centers. Go to nobadance.com/youth-class classes. Thanks to the Hellas Foundation. It's incredible. On Saturdays in August, residents can visit either the New Orleans Museum of Art, the Ogden, or the Contemporary Art Center free of charge. All in August. What a good deal. Go to hellasfoundation.org for details on that. And check out the Interpretations 100 exhibit featuring the work of 49 artists and over 250 works of art, all created by the New Orleans Drawing Group from 100 sessions of making art together over a 2-year period virtually during the pandemic. Sarah Burchell and Darlene Biggis-Doheny are the key leadership in this effort. It's amazing. It's all online through November. Go to kunstmatrix.com and then type in New Orleans Drawing Group to see their exhibit. Just to let you know that due to pledge, next week we will not have a Steppin' Out, but we'll be returning on August the 25th with our repeat at 10:30 that Friday evening. And before we go, we're about to go, but since Mona Lisa's here, Mona Lisa, I also just want to remind everybody that you've spent a good deal, of course, of your career also chronicling Creole history, and you mentioned hucklebucks, which I think is a wonderful, isn't the sort of the frozen homemade snow cone, if you will?
Yeah, it's literally a frozen cup. As a matter of fact, in Michigan they call them Dixie cups because Dixie made the little cups. But here, for those of us who weren't rich and couldn't always afford to purchase the shaved ice, so our parents at home would use either juice and freeze it, or lemonade, fresh lemonade, freeze it, or if you were lucky enough to have canned pineapple juice and freeze that, oh, makes you want to kiss your mama, yeah.
One of the treats is that actually at the Jazz Fest, I know they've got Yakima, which of course is very much a New Orleans dish, but I've seen hucklebucks, kudos to them on that. And then finally, before I stop putting you, to task here, but what are some of your favorite Creole dishes? What do you enjoy eating?
I love gumbo. I love the way
Which
we
kind?
do.
Seafood?
Seafood gumbo is my favorite. I love okra gumbo, and okra is the Bantu word for gumbo, actually. And I love jambalaya. I love anything sautéed with, as my dad would say, a little red gravy.
And probably with what? Vaucresson sausage, huh?
Yeah. And of course, I think anything, with galette. That's our pan-fried shortening bread.
All right. Oh, all right. Poppy, you like that,
What about the quarter or the nickel or the dime in the huckabuck? That's my favorite part of the story.
Okay.
Because Miss Linda always said that every once in a while they'd put a coin in the bottom, and so you'd get your money back if you were lucky. And I just thought that was so delightful because it's like an early gambling game,
But Peggy, I don't know if you know this, but
Yeah.
Wanda Ruzan's original name, her nickname was Hucklebuck.
I love it.
Yes. So I don't know exactly where that came from, but that was her nickname.
There you go. Well, thank you all so much. Who else will tell you these things? Thanks for watching.
Where else?
See you on the 25th. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org.